CEO journey started when my partner Hazel Woodhams and I began to camp. We bought a brand new tent and decided to go canoeing and camping basically as a hobby. And it was on our third major trip that we did to Norfolk in 2011, when we used a small bucket barbecue, so for two people, around 6-ish in the evening, just cooked our dinner on it and then just let it go out. We did this safely outside our tent. The tent was a large 4-person tent, about 6 foot tall, so a really large one you can easily stand up in. And around 10 o'clock, we then decided just to tidy up around the tent, as we did every night, just in case it rains or maybe someone fancies our equipment and wants to take it away. So we put everything into the porch area of the tent. And the next thing I really remember is waking up in the morning, feeling extremely disorientated. I was very dehydrated. I felt about as sick as I've ever felt in my life. I also wasn't entirely on the airbed anymore. I must have somehow during the night tried to get out instinctively. I was only half up to the waist in my sleeping bag, and I was actually slightly outside with my upper body, outside of the sleeping compartment that we had zipped up during the night. And it took me what felt like half an hour to even form a proper thought process in my mind. And as soon as I was conscious enough, I turned around and found Hazel dead next to me. And I'm a forensic scientist who has seen death on vast scales, but obviously it's something very different if suddenly the love of your life lies next to you dead. And of course I had no idea what had happened. Only later did we learn that the barbecue, even though it had been out for hours, or what appeared to be out for hours, it was cold to the touch. No residual heat had come off it. But this is when actually a lot of the carbon monoxide can still come off barbecues. And well, nothing was brought Hazel back, of course. It took me 8 operations in 4 weeks. I was pretty much close to death for another 2 weeks. Initially in intensive care, and then I had half a year of physiotherapy and hydrotherapy to get to a fairly normal state, and have taken over 35,000 painkillers just because of that one night. Yeah, since the accident happened, I was asked initially by the BBC to appear on the One Show, and that was seen by someone in the All Fuels Forum, which was created by the All Party Committee in London. And I was asked to come to a meeting. I didn't know an awful lot about it. It was immediately the next day. And I walked into a room, a part of Parliament, and there were about 40 people inside and not a single scientist. Now, Hazel, my partner, was a forensic scientist who was working as a crime scene investigator for West Yorkshire Police at the time. I'm a scientist. I teach at master level at universities. And I thought that what CO needs, apart from awareness raising, is more knowledge, is more science, because there is an awful lot we don't know about carbon monoxide. And there's even more that the general public doesn't know about it. I mean, that carbon monoxide can go through walls, and that carbon monoxide can come off a barbecue that appears to have been out for hours. And there's a lot more that we need to understand about it. And I thought I have to make it my mission as a scientist who has experienced CO and is probably one of the closest survivors you will ever find. That it should be my mission to encourage experts in the field to do more research, but also then find the money to pay for it, because research does of course cost money. I've always tried to take every opportunity to raise awareness of the dangers of carbon monoxide, partly in Hazel's memory. I mean, nothing will give her death meaning, to be perfectly honest. That is a stereotypic thing that's used by people who have not lost someone, quite frankly. And nothing is going to bring her back, but if I can prevent others from having to go through the same grievance and loss, then that at least can make me feel a little better. Equally, it is that feeling of helplessness and sickness when I woke up that morning that makes me want to prevent that to happen to anyone else. I was already keen to support Project Shout for quite a while, because basically it has the right people in it that it's based on, and it has a very clear message that it wants to try to get out. Sometimes campaigns can be muddled up a little bit and want to achieve too much. There's a clear aim. It's about alarms, and ultimately, while we're working on various other things of making appliances safer and making the environment in which we are potentially producing carbon monoxide safer, while we're doing that, it's all well and good, but the only thing that's going to save you right now, today, is a carbon monoxide alarm. And because Project Shout concentrates specifically on that, I think it's an excellent cause to support. The Student University Challenge of Project Shout was, I think it was a very, very interesting approach towards raising awareness, because it raises awareness on two levels. First of all the students who have thought about participating or have participated, and probably their families, their friends, their teachers, and all of them will now have considerably more knowledge of carbon monoxide poisoning. The end product, of course, is also something that can then be used. So it is hitting two birds with one stone. Therefore, it's an excellent idea to get young creative minds thinking, to try to visualize something that is actually invisible and cannot be sensed with any human sense. That is a very tough task, and I'm amazed how well they've actually responded to it. There really are two key things that everyone needs to know about carbon monoxide poisoning. The first one is that your environment needs to be kept as safely as possible. Therefore, if you have a gas boiler, or if you have any appliances that use either gas or any other fossil fuel, like a chimney where you burn wood or charcoal or coal, they need to be maintained properly, and you have to have the chimneys swept, you have to have your annual boiler check, so that is extremely important. However, carbon monoxide can come from sources outside of your own area of influence. So even if you have done all of that, if you have kept all of your appliances safe, it doesn't mean your neighbor does. I'll try to encourage them. However, the only other thing that will save you is an alarm, because an alarm will go off whether or not the carbon monoxide came from your own appliances or it came through the wall from the neighboring property. So as long as people do both of these things, of having their appliances maintained properly and have sufficient number of alarms in their property, then they can stay safe. Well, anyone watching this, the simple message is to get an alarm, because you do not want to wake up in your house or in a tent, in a boat, in a caravan, and feel like I felt when this happened to me in 2011. I've never been so ill in my life, and I lost the love of my life in one night, purely because I did not have a carbon monoxide alarm with me. The alarm would have saved Hazel's life and would have given us a happy life from then after. So get an alarm.